Hey, welcome to Chapter 3, Lesson 2, Slope. Our learning target or objective for this lesson is to find the slope of a line. And we do have some vocabulary for this lesson. And our first one is slope, the ratio of the rise to the run. Rise is the vertical change. Vertical is up and down. And our last vocab word is run, the horizontal change, left to right. As always, you may pause the video to write down the definitions and continue once you are ready. Okay, the slope tells us how quickly a line is rising or falling. Once again, slope equals the vertical change over the horizontal change, or rise over run. If you see to the graph to your right, we have the rise in red. It goes up 1, 2, 3, so that goes up 3, and it runs over 1, 2 spots. So the slope would be 3 over 2. This is the rise. This is the run. As always, put down any questions that you have or rewind the video to make sure that you are understanding what we are going to be going over in class. Okay, moving on to our next slide. Our key concept is slope formula. You have a formula to find the slope. One of our first formulas we're going to have this year is words of slope formula. Slope M of a line passing through points x1 and y1 and x2 and y2 is the ratio of the difference in the y coordinates to the corresponding difference in the x coordinates. And what that all means is to find our slope, we take our y2 minus our y1, divide that by x2 minus x1, where x2 is not equal to x1. As always, we're going to do some examples of these so you can get a better understanding of our key concept. And slopes. Slopes can be positive, negative, zero slope, or undefined. As you notice, a positive slope. Positive slope, as it goes from left to right, it's going upward, upward. Our negative slope, going from left to right, is going down. Zero slope, straight across, straight line, left to right. And undefined, from left to right, it does not change, it goes straight up from the same point. We'll be going over this in class, so hopefully make sure you get a better concept and grasp of this if you do not already have one. Okay, let's get to some examples. Find the slope of a treadmill. Here we have a treadmill, and we have 48 inches long by 10 inches high. So first we're going to take, as always, we always want to write down our formula that helps us remember it. And as we go, we have our slope equals our rise over run. So S equals rising. Rises is vertical, goes up and down. The rise is over here, that's the 10 vertical. So our rise is 10 inches. And the run, left to right, is 48 inches. Now we can reduce that. That has down to a simpler form. When we reduce that, our slope is 5 over 24. There you have the slope of the treadmill as it's inclined. 5 over 24. Let's take a peek at another example. Excuse me. The graph shows the cost of muffins at a bake sale. Find the slope of the line. Okay, to find the slope of a line, when you have 2 points, we're going to use our slope formula. As always, I said, write down your formula. So slope equals rise over run. as we know that. Also, as we learned in our key concept, it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, now how do I know which one's x2, y1? So when we label, we always go from left to right. So our first point we come to on our left side is the 2, 4. So our 2 is going to be our x1, and our 4 is going to be our y1. Remember, coordinate plane has one of the coordinates is an x coordinate, the other one is a y coordinate. So that makes our 3, 6, our x2, and our y2. Once you labeled them and you have them correct, now you just plug them right into our formula. So our y2 is our 6. So we're taking 6 minus our y1. Our y1 is 4 over our x2, which is 3, minus our x1, which is 2. Now we're just going to simply do our math. 6 minus 4 at the top is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So our slope for our muffins sale is 2 over 1 or simply 2. Either one is acceptable. Okay, as always, if you have any questions, please write them down or review the video as we're going to proceed on to our next slide. And we have the table shows the number of pages Garrett has left to read after a certain number of minutes. The points on a line. The points lie on a line. Find the slope of that line. So now we don't have a graph, we have a table. Once again, we can always still determine the slope of the line. So first, with time, let's look at the graph. Time, minutes. That's our x coordinate. We have 1, 3, 5, 7 pages left equals our y, 12, 9, 6, and 3. Before we get to our formula, let's label some stuff so we know what we're, our first ordered pair. Let's look at our first ordered pair. 1 and 12. That's our x and y. We can mark that x1, y1. And then for our formula, for our x2 and y2, we can pick any one. As it's stated, it lies on a line, so the slope's going to be the same regardless of whatever point we choose. Let's just choose the one underneath it. We got x2, y2. Okay, now that we have our points labeled, once again, let's get into our formula. We have slope equals rise over run, also equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The more you write down the formula, the more you're going to remember it. It's just that easy. So let's just now, as we have everything labeled, let's just plug into our formula. Our y2 is 9 minus our y1, which is 12, over x2, which is 3, minus our x1, which is 1. And now let's do our math. 9 minus 12 is a negative 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So looking at there, our slope is negative 3 over 2. When you have a negative slope, that means, if you would graph it, it means obviously our line is going in a downward manner. It's a negative slope, means it's going down from left to right. Okay, any questions, once again, please write them down or review the video as we will go over more examples in class.